folks. Here's the video, Vaush and Jenk. And this one I'm gonna see the TYT moving. TYT can't stop moving to the right, but they're not moving to the right. Yeah, they are, but in this case, in this take, they don't seem like they are. But Vaush, he's right in a way. He's saying this is like a fake. They're fake. Now he's saying they're like fake populists, and this is all this fake. So he could be right on that. But others in the left are saying that no, he's totally wrong. This is not the video. But he's right. This video doesn't show that they are. If you listen to it, what they're talking about.
I don't pretend you fought for it. You're on the record. You did nothing to fight back.
This part right here is just stupid. This is empty posturing. Different people in the Justice Dems, the Democrats, have at varying points.
Yeah, I'm gonna start this part of the video. So I don't want to be. This is the more interesting part. I see where he's coming from.
Fought for these things to varying extents. This is just like preachy, screamy, how dare you, how dare you, how dare you bullshit.
I just feel that, just based on what we can see publicly, there's a lack of strategy and a lack of, it seems like they don't really talk to one another or plan on what their plan of attack is, right? And in fact, there was an aide who spoke to HuffPost about this, and this is what they said. So this is a progressive senior House aide. We have huge champions like Bernie Sanders, AOC, Ilhan Omar, who are able to be successful political fundraisers, but movement-wise, we're not in a great place right now. And one House aide conceded that Justice Democrats aligned incumbents lacked cohesiveness and did not have regular group meetings with Justice Democrats. Other than some Israel bills, we never talked about legislation. There's a perspective that people with Justice Democrats win their race and come to Congress and do their own thing.
That's not. Oh, if that's the case, if that's an accurate reflection of their internal strategy, that's really dumb.
Perception. That's a stone cold fact.
Yeah.
That is absolute reality. And you guys have heard me allude to it before. I don't reveal private conversations, but I tell you generally.
So what do you think the best time to fight against corporate Dems is? I don't like that question because a lot of people don't seem to understand the materialist side of political shifts. You know what I mean? The time to fight against corporate Dems is all the time when you can and not when you can't. It is a fact right now that the current liberal or the current political climate favors liberalism because it's seen as a safe alternative to fascism. If you want to press back against corporate Democrat behavior, there are times to do. I've talked about it plenty, but I don't. Your first goal in politics is not, well, when do we get to fight the corporate Dems? Your first goal in politics is wake up, smell the roses, and think, what is the most important thing to do right now? And the answer to that is fight fascism. Why do I see so many leftists online who ask, when's the time to challenge the corporate Dems? And not, when's the time to invalidate fascism at a political level? I never see that question.
Yeah, but we could do the same thing, buddy. We could do the same thing. Why can't we do two things at the same time? Why is it, you want them to just go along with the Democrats forever, or people are frustrated and they really wanna. People want real change. They don't wanna, I mean, they're fed up with the two duopoly parties, and so people want change, and But the thing is, they believe in guys like maybe these guys, Jink. I know they were good in the fight for they put the Justice Democrats in and all that. But now it seems like they're more. I think they're more like a grift to me now. I still watch them, but you wonder. Back in the old days, they were active, man. They were at protests, rallies, and everything. But these guys are more, now it's more like a gift. I mean, like a grift, am I saying?
Should get asked, which is weird to me because that is by far the most important priority. It's leagues more important than any individual policy issue because the consequence of failing on that particular front are magnitudes greater than the harm done by continuing the status quo. But people don't wake up and say, well, okay, well, how can I most fight against the agenda of the Republican Party? Because leftists don't care about that because that makes them feel like they're liberals. Instead, it's, well, how do we oppose the corporate Dems, you know? Well, here's step one. Make the average Democrat voter not so insanely terrified of fascism that they're willing to accept risky alternatives for what they perceive to be risky alternatives to liberalism. If you want a progressive movement, then what you need is stability. And in order to get that, you have to push back against the fascism. That, I think, is the most important thing to focus on.
I was shocked to find out there's no strategy, no planning, no leadership on anything. And it's not just Justice Democrats, that's also other so-called progressives in Congress. Yes, that includes Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren. Nobody ever talks to anybody. They don't coordinate. How the hell are you going to pass something if you don't go and talk to people and you don't have to come up with a plan, a strategy? Look, and then if somebody proposes a strategy from the outside, everybody's too good now. Oh, I am a congressperson. I am a senator. Who cares? What have you done? What have you done? So do something.
I don't know what he's referring to here. I have never seen AOC go, I am a congresswoman. I don't know. I might be right about this. A lot of new progressives like Maxwell Frost are supporting Israel. I did see the Maxwell Frost vote on Israel, man. Gen Z progressive says he's pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian. What the? This was old. This is from 2022. It really just feels like if you want to succeed in American politics, you can't be anti-Israel because if you are, people say it's like, oh, it's the Jews, oh, it's AIPAC. No, it's not. It's the cynical Democrats and Republicans in power who will disingenuously accuse you of anti-Semitism in order to politically handicap you. It's the same thing that happened to Corbyn, right? Corbyn got accused of being anti-Semitic, and that ended up like frying him electorally. But it wasn't Jews doing it. It was people it was Gentiles in his own party who were deliberately inflaming those accusations to go over Corbyn because they didn't like him. So it's not like, as always, the Jews aren't behind it. They're just a scapegoat.
Corbyn.
Except in this case, they're being used disingenuously as a scapegoat.
The guy in the Labour Party. He's not in the party now, but he's former leader of the Labour Party in the UK. I think that's what he's talking about. That's who he's talking about, I think.
So from the other side, you know, like, oh, how dare you be anti-Semitic by being anti-Israel? And this is being said by like a GOP congressperson whose staff is filled with Nazis, you know, and the Nazis will repeat it too.
Something. And guys, we're dying for leadership. So if AOC, for example, who's the most prominent of the Justice Democrats, said, that's it, I'm leaving. I would love it.
Yeah, because
Thank you.
there's no other room to talk, funny rhetorician. Like, you have to be pro-Israel to be American. You have to, because the politicians and media don't, like, front anything else. Because Israel is like the perfect Mont Bailey for the establishment, okay? Because support for Israel is like the crux of support for American foreign military intervention and support for like apartheid regimes. Like, if you support Israel, then you can justify support for any bad thing abroad. They're like the focus point on that. But whenever a person like challenges what's happening in Israel, you get to accuse them of being an anti-Semite, which is still, at least nominally, not a good thing to be in American politics, in spite of the fact that GOP is filled with Nazis. So, like, it's like, oh, man, you want to, like, roll back our support of an apartheid regime? It looks like you're an anti-Semite. It's, like, really convenient for the people in power, you know? Who are, again, not Jews. They're just people using Jewish issues disingenuously to front their own agenda. The same way Nazis do, frankly.
Even if I didn't agree exactly with the plan, and even if I thought, well, you know, I would do it in a different way. Who cares? At least she's reading. At least she's bringing together a coalition. She's fighting back against the establishment. Did it happen? It's a verifiable fact that it didn't happen. And so it breaks my heart to tell you that, but that's the situation we're in. I hope that some of this gets through and they begin to realize that they've let the grassroots down. You can't say...
I also regret to inform you, you can't, quote, destroy the establishment from within when there were like 10 Justice Democrats and hundreds of Democrat congressmen.
Well, I let you down, I didn't get you anything you wanted, but give me money. But give me money anyway. That is not a compelling argument. But my guess is they won't listen to anybody. They have Washingtonitis. All of them do. All the reporters do. All the the groups do, the legislators do. What is that? They think that Joe Biden actually got a lot done. They're so happy and proud of themselves. They're like, what do you mean? We got a little bit of climate change.
This is a long rant. I'm gonna take you to the end, see what he says. This is what really gets interesting, what he says. Let's see. Right here.
Mr. Christie always wondered when was the perfect time to enjoy a cookie. Turns out it was any time, and it...
Do like the burn your bus. I could do like all of it, all the time, everything. And instead, like, I'm like the one leftist who will sit down here and I'll say, listen, okay, your number one priority is not challenging the corporate Dems. It's fighting fascism, you loser. Get your head out of your ass, okay? You did not become a leftist so you could politically distinguish yourself from your annoying parents, all right? Get over yourself. You're not a revolutionary. You're a dude typing online shitposting, okay?
See, you're wrong. He's right about Jink and TYT, but what's he saying about the left? Just fighting the fascists. But some say there's fascists in their own party, in the Democratic Party. So, but they're not. No, I wouldn't say that. But some would say that. But see, he's wrong. He's right at what they're doing. But the TYT is. But he's wrong. But what the left should do. I mean, the left should put pressure on the Democrats, and a third party option is better than going along with the who go along with Biden or whoever is in the primary. I mean, that's a joke. In terms of this, though, he's saying that they're left, they're right. No, they're going to the right. Yeah, he's right. They are going to the right, but and he has the wrong title of this because this video doesn't show. I guess he's saying that they're fake populists, but the reason why, not because of what they're saying here. That's why they're going to the right. What they say on about crime, and they just did another video with propaganda all over it. I want to see on their live show. I want to see they do a segment on that. I want to break that down.
The world a better place in the ways that you feel you can, and quit overvaluing yourself. Quit pretending that this is some grand conflict in which you are the star. Like, quit acting as though you were going to strike out the corporate Dems by getting a couple of progressives elected to Congress. Like, come on, man. But like, that sells so well. It sells so well because people love hearing that. It was like when talking with the Vanguard boys, where I would make out like every argument that I had for like, listen, this is why I think you can only get these things done. Like, you have to know what you can get done, because if you don't know what you're capable of getting done, you waste your time trying to do things you can. And then every time I finish anything, it was like, well, then how do we challenge the corporate Dems? Like, every time, right? Like, it's like, that's like the only thing about, like, hey, here's a strategy to stop.
And you're wrong. You're right. How do you challenge these people? Just gonna go on and on with this. People are really fed up. I don't blame them. Just go along with the Democratic Party.
Fascism. Here's a strategy to oppose the spread of fascism.
There's fascism, but you could fight the fascists and do pressure on the Democrats.
In the world's most powerful country, which would probably set in motion a chain of events that would not only lead to our deaths.
Well, you're right about that. But for right now, you could go along with put pressure on the Biden by supporting the Green Party right now, and you got elections. You know what I mean? You see what happens. But by all accounts, it's not going to do much. It's not going to affect the vote. But if he gets 5% of the vote, there'll be a message there, and maybe might put pressure. He might adopt some of the policies. Who knows? I'm talking about Cornel West, but if you get to 5% of the vote, I mean, do something, not just fight the fascists. You can still fight the fascists.
But the death of like the entire like global network of political and economic engagement that allows for the modern standard of life, standard of living increase the rest of the world around, climate change, like everything will fall apart. And they're like, okay, yeah, like whatever, like you're probably overstating that, but like the corporate Dems are more responsible shepherds of this country than 99% of progressive leftists ever could be, and that is a serious, like indictment of the effect.
And of course they are. The Republicans are a really wicked party, and they have a lot of Looney Tunes in the party. But a lot of wicked people in that party. And either white, don't forget that well, you're not going to say it, they should say it. They're the white racist party. The white supremacist party, you could say. So.
There's some progressive lefties in the West, you know? That's how bad it is. Like, Jesus. It's like, I swear to God, it's like all leftist discourse got like co-opted by Kremlin talking points where, hey guys, good leftist foreign policy is opposing America all the time, no matter what, regardless of the context, no matter what, just always do that. And good internal policy is...
Good point. I agree with you on that, but TYT actually agrees with you though, Vaush. Jink agrees with you. And you guys are right about that. Like, Russia's not a good guy either. Both the countries are not good. They do stuff bad that are really terrible in the past. And you know that Russia has a past too, doing stuff terrible, invading other countries, and especially now.
Is being anti-establishment and populist. Even if the establishment has better ideas than you do, and even if the populism is completely aimless and without direction, you're not actually accomplishing anything, and you have no idea what you're talking about, you don't understand this works. It just reminds me of how, it's like, how many, I see lefties get tens of thousands of retweets on Twitter where they will blame Joe Biden for state law being passed in Republican states. Or they're like, so you want us to vote Democrat in 2024, even though all these anti-trans laws are happening? I said, well, where are the anti-trans laws happening? In red states, but they don't engage with that because they don't know how it works. How can you say we vote Biden when the Supreme Court's tearing apart our rights anyway? The Supreme Court is currently red-leaning because of the people appointed under Trump's term. So if Hillary had won then, and then Biden had won, it would be a left-leaning Supreme Court, and we wouldn't have any of this. These problems are all downstream of Republicans. Well, how did Biden fix them? He can't fix that wasn't. He can't fix state law. That's not what the president does, and he can't.
Yeah, but he has executive order. He could do something, right? He could try and do something here, but yeah, I mean, at least try. At least I know he can't. It's hard to do it with. Not just the Supreme Court, but other things he could have done. He have tried, like with the student loan now, but there's other things he could have done. With the police reform and voting rights. I mean, voting reform. I mean, yeah. And stop all the gerrymandering and all this. He could have done it. The police reform, at least. Criminal justice reform, some kind of executive order. He could have done that.
Undo previous Supreme Court appointments. You just have to not have Republicans win. If Republicans don't win, there's not an issue here. If Republicans lose, then we have more room to challenge corporate Dem policies because people aren't voting entirely based on what they think will be the same alternative to fascism. We can do this, guys. It's not difficult. I am engaging in sophomoric political analysis here. This isn't heavy shit. I'm not using my whole brain. I'm using maybe 4 brain cells at most. This is obvious, but lefties stumble at this time and time again. We saw earlier that segment where Jim Cramer was freaking out and comparing people to Marx because of the idea of union striking or whatever. That is the level of political engagement in terms of the bar for IQ that I see lefties engage in time and time again, but we don't get as upset by it because when we see them we think, oh, Well, at least there are retards. They're not. They're not my retards. They're not my retards, and I don't claim.
Retards.
Okay? I don't know what the they're doing. Like all these
He was acting like a retard now.
people who have no clue what fascism would do to this country. Real fascism. Joe Biden's a fascist. You have no idea what fascism is. I want you to know what fascism is. Okay? Go to Myanmar or Burma or what. Go learn what fascism is. Okay? Please. Go to any country that is actually definitively fascist and express contrary political views to the running government, okay? Go, learn, all right? Jesus. This is like an Americanoid thing, or I guess Westoid in general, but like you guys have no idea how lucky you are to live in countries where you get to be belligerent little shits who have no idea what you're talking about and not get shot in the back of the head and blackbagged, okay? Because that's not a permanent thing. That's not guaranteed. That's not like an innate property of human governance, you know? You could very well live in a country where you will get blackbagged and shot in the back of the head. That happens in parts of the world today. It's happened historically in other parts of the world. It could still happen today here if the wrong people win the right elections.
Yeah, we all know that, I guess. Yeah. What's the point with this?
I'm really just trying to keep you guys safe. I just want people to be safe. I just want this country to be a free, open space where socialists have the ability to advertise their superior economic and political philosophy without being blackbagged and shot in the back of the head. That's it. And I have to wade through this sickening, acrid mire of retards and grifters and fake populists with people who have nothing to say.
So you're saying they're saying they're fake populists. That's what he's getting at with this. I think you could be. As for now, they're acting like he's right on this. But I think that's his point with the video. He's saying that they're fake populists. But it should be said they're fake. He should read on this title as fake populists. TYT expressing doing fake populism. They're trying to counteract the idea that they're going to the right, so they're doing this fake populist with this video, and AOC and the squad. That's what they're doing. That's what his video should be like. That's the main theme of it. But they retitled it. This is the wrong title for this video. But on the other stuff, he's totally. He shouldn't. So we shouldn't. They shouldn't do anything. Just, I mean, go along with the Democrats. I mean. Sure, it's fascism, man. You can't be afraid. I mean, you have to try something. And people are desperate. They don't care. They don't. Right now, people are being, especially certain communities, black community, being shot by the police. Police brutality, and it's like fascism. Where they live is like fascism. And people spouting propaganda. And I know you're not Vaush, but these guys are. And they have no choice, and they're homeless, and they don't care. They don't care about. I mean, they're desperate, and what do they have to lose? Try something else. Don't go with the Democrats. I mean.
But screaming, who have nothing to offer the political conversation outside the aesthetic, the neon sign pointed at them, screaming, look at me, Ma, I'm not a liberal. Look, I hate the corporate Dems. Great, hate the corporate Dems. Take the hate to the mass grave they'll leave you in, okay? You just don't know. You have no idea. You have no clue. You have no clue how bad things can get. You're so lucky. You're so lucky. You have no idea, but you will if we lose. It's end of history nonsense. Fukuyama clapping his hands appreciatively as he reads your average leftist Twitter post, where the idea of a safe, like, bourgeois democracy in which they can express their retarded ideals is taken for granted, you know? Like, unironically, though, like, all the lefties are, yeah, dude, well, you know, Trump was with Biden's a fascist. It's like, yeah, end of history, man. Yeah, sure, we did it. Yeah, nothing can happen in this country that'll...
In the democracy, I mean, yeah. We'll see. May not be the end. Yeah, we'll see. But you could say that they're just fear mongering. I mean, what you're doing is just fear mongering. People, they could just say that, and you're being too using hyperbole. and you're just fear mongering, and that's not that. It could get that bad, but and you don't even right now you don't know if Trump's gonna. Well, you don't even know if Trump's. He could still, yeah. Trump could win, I guess. Could be. Well, now they're saying that it's close, but Biden probably will beat him. But I don't know. But then again, if Trump has a better, they say that Biden, the Republicans have a better chance if DeSantis or any other goes against Biden. So now they're saying that Trump is gonna win. If Trump wins the nomination for the Republicans, that Biden has a way better chance of beating him. So we'll see. But I don't think it's not gonna matter the Green. If he vote for whoever votes for Cornel West, it's not gonna matter. And it's not gonna take votes away from the Democrats. I mean, it's not gonna matter if they might, but it's not gonna matter.
It'll lead to you guys getting mass grave. You'll never be loaded onto a train. That'll
And
never.
he'd be using hyperbole, and they're not gonna listen to that. They don't care. They're not gonna say your using may not get that bad. Think about it. It could, but and some people are desperate. They don't care. They will wish that I'll risk that. Is it worth it?
Never happened, bro. And the history, man.
But these people are not gonna see. These people that are gonna vote for the Green Party, they're not gonna. They normally wouldn't vote anyways. So they're not gonna take votes away, most likely, from the Democrats.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, not even Fukuyama. Yeah, Fukuyama's moved away from this. 9/11 basically threw that garbage. No, Philomath 20. That's what I'm saying. There are legitimate points that he and Anna were making that I don't necessarily disagree with. That's why that's why you overshoot the case. Like, I think it's okay. Like, people do this all the time because it's like the dial, right? Like turning the dial that says populism on it, looking back at my audience to see the reaction. Like, hey, the Democratic corporate Dems are this over. They're like complicit. They're willingly incompetent against fascism. Yeah, like turns back towards the crowd, turns the dial right even further. Also, Democrats are just as bad as the Republicans anyway. Corporate Democrats, corporations, that's like fascism, man. They're just as bad as each other. Yeah, turn back, everyone should turn it even further right. Yeah, actually, I think Democrats are worse because at least like Republicans are trying to change things. Yeah, but like this pipeline exists, So annoying. You have to dial it in.
At that point, he has a point. These two. Sometimes you think they criticize the Dems too much, the Jink, and it comes off as he thinks it comes off as being a fake populist. I see what he's saying. I guess that's the point of the video. I guess you see when they're more like fake populists. They don't really believe what they're doing, and maybe nowadays it could be. Back then they were. But it seems that when they got a donation from a big donor, they talk about donors. Mr. Jink, you talk about donors. Now you're saying, okay, now we're change our kind of our views a bit. Okay, support, go for more propaganda, go against the homeless people, and go away from your marginalized people. Stop doing stories of that. They're being, and that's social justice. Social justice. Stop doing stories like that. Anyways, folks, it's done for this. This is all for this video, and Vaush saying that they're going to the right, but this doesn't. I guess I get what he's saying. He's saying that they're doing a folk populism. They're doing a false populism in this video. Can't stop moving there. And they're going to the right. They're compensating for the shift, so they're doing this story. So I see what they do. You saw what he's saying. This should be a little. They should title it differently. See how they're doing. Should be titled how they're doing fake populism because of their right. Because of their right. They move to the right. They're moving to the right, and this is why they're doing this fake populism. Fake populism in this story. So this should be the title of this video. They're here what he's doing. In other words, that's it, folks. I'm gonna step out of here. And it's late.